John Shad, the bench press trap. It was early morning when 23-year-old college athlete John Shad walked into his local gym. John was strong, determined, and confident. Bench press was his favorite lift. That day, he wanted a new personal record. He loaded the bar with more weight than he had ever attempted. He didn't ask anyone to spot him. He simply lay down on the bench and unracked the bar. The weight trembled in his hands. He lowered it slowly and tried to push it back up. But halfway through the lift, his arms gave out. The bar dropped onto his chest and neck. He tried to roll it off, but the weight was too heavy. By the time someone noticed and rushed to help, it was too late. John's story became a powerful reminder of one rule: never bench press heavy without a spotter. Tina Watson, the treadmill disaster. Our next story begins in a luxury hotel gym. 29-year-old Tina Watson was on a business trip. She was fit, athletic, and used to high-intensity workouts. She stepped onto the treadmill for a quick run before dinner. The machine started smoothly. She increased the speed. Everything felt normal. But that treadmill had a hidden problem. A sudden, violent jerk caused by a mechanical glitch. A problem nobody had fixed. Without warning, the treadmill jolted forward. Tina's foot slipped. She fell backward and hit her head on the hard floor. Hotel staff called emergency services immediately. But despite the quick response, Tina never regained consciousness. Her story shows that even simple machines can be dangerous when they aren't properly inspected. Mark Felton, the squat rack collapse. 41-year-old powerlifter Mark Felton was known for his strength. He was training for an upcoming competition and visited the gym almost every day. On the day of the accident, he planned to practice heavy squats. What he didn't know was that the squat rack he was using had a serious issue. A loose bolt. Something small, but dangerous. Mark stepped under the bar. He lifted it off the rack and began his squat. On the way back up, the weakened rack shifted. The bar rolled sideways. The entire weight collapsed on him. Trainers and gym members rushed to help and emergency services were called. Mark was taken to the hospital, but he didn't survive. The investigation later revealed that the equipment had not been maintained for months. This story changed many gyms' safety protocols around equipment inspections. Alex Ramos, the deadlift heart failure. 35-year-old fitness enthusiast Alex Ramos. He was known in his gym as the guy who always went all in. He trained hard, motivated others, and pushed himself to the limit. On the day of his accident, Alex attempted an extremely heavy deadlift. A personal record he had been chasing for months. He grabbed the bar. Pulled with everything he had. His body shook with effort. And he locked out the lift. Everyone around him cheered. But just seconds later, Alex collapsed. He suffered sudden cardiac arrest caused by extreme exertion and a dangerous spike in blood pressure. Trainers performed CPR until paramedics arrived, but Alex could not be revived. His death changed the way many trainers approach max effort lifting and heart health monitoring. David Lehman, the cable machine snap. 40-year-old office worker David Lehman loved doing cable workouts. He wasn't a power lifter. He wasn't chasing records. He simply wanted to stay healthy. On a calm weekday afternoon, David walked into his local gym and headed straight to the cable machine. The same machine he used every week. What he didn't know was that inside the machine, one of the steel cables had worn down. A tiny crack. Invisible from the outside. But dangerous. David set the weight stack. Grabbed the handles. And began his chest fly exercise. Everything seemed normal. Until the cable snapped. The broken cable recoiled like a whip. The metal handle flew backward at high speed and struck David across the side of his head. Witnesses rushed over immediately. Trainers called emergency services. But the impact had caused massive trauma. David was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital. His tragedy led to many gyms adopting a new rule. Inspect all cables weekly, not monthly. Because even small equipment failures can take a life. Sarah Kim, the sauna collapse. A 33-year-old fitness coach who believed deeply in discipline. After every workout, she followed the same routine. A long session inside the gym's sauna. It was supposed to help with recovery, relaxation, detox. And for years it did. But one day, Sarah entered the sauna after an intense leg day. She was dehydrated. Her heart rate was still elevated. And the sauna's temperature that day was unusually high due to a malfunctioning thermostat. But Sarah didn't know. She sat inside, closed her eyes, and tried to breathe slowly. Minutes passed. Then more. Until she slumped sideways on the wooden bench. Another gym member entered the sauna and found her unconscious. Staff called paramedics. But Sarah had suffered fatal heat stroke. Her internal temperature had risen far too high, far too fast. Her case became one of the most widely discussed sauna-related gym deaths. And it taught a new lesson. Never combine dehydration, exhaustion, and extreme heat. Even experienced athletes can collapse without warning. So be careful. The treadmill tragedy of Lin, Indonesia. It involves a 22-year-old woman named Lin, who went to her local gym for a normal cardio session. Lin stepped on a treadmill near a large glass window. She set the speed higher than usual. She loved fast running. But this time, the treadmill belt suddenly slipped under her feet. She lost balance. Her body leaned backward. She tried to grab the handrail, but missed. Her foot hit the edge of the machine, and the treadmill force pushed her backward. Lin fell directly into the window behind her. The glass shattered instantly. Witnesses said they heard a loud crash and saw her fall through the broken glass frame. She fell out of the window and landed outside the building. Gym staff rushed to help and called emergency services. Lin was taken to the hospital, but the injuries were extremely serious. The incident shocked the entire community in Pontianak. It became a reminder to keep space behind treadmills and to never place them close to windows. The bench press accident of Kyle Thompson, Texas, USA. It involves 25-year-old Kyle Thompson, a fitness lover who trained almost every day. Kyle was working on his bench press. He loaded the bar heavier than he usually lifted. He felt strong that day. But he was alone. No spotter. No one watching. He lifted the bar, but halfway up, his arms began to shake. The weight was too heavy. His muscles failed. The bar dropped fast. It landed on his chest, pinning him down. Kyle tried to roll it off, but the weight was too much. Someone noticed the bar shaking and ran toward him. They lifted the bar, but Kyle had already taken major damage to his chest. He was rushed to the hospital. Doctors said his ribs were fractured and his lungs were affected. Kyle survived, but the accident changed the way many people in his gym trained. The rule became simple. Never bench heavy alone.